Hey guys, it's the Watcher here, and today's video is going to be about why Saints Row failed. Let's go. Saints Row, a game that was originally going to be a PS2 title under the name of Blank, but instead later premiered on the Xbox 360 on August 29, 2006. The developers, Volition, began working on Saints Row in May 2004. The game was released to critical acclaim and commercial success. The sequel, Saints Row 2, was released in 2008, the same year as GTA V. They really had the ball to do that because they really thought they had competition with GTA, and they didn't. But anyways, it was an even bigger success than their first game, and then there was Saints Row 3, the third entry in the series. I remember watching the trailer for Saints Row 3 as a kid and being so hyped that all I could think of was getting it for Christmas. It was released on November 15th, 2011, and was the last game in such a letdown of a series to be published by THQ, and the rest, well, they don't deserve to be mentioned. So yeah, let's talk about Saints Row's repetitive nature, because it is a repetitive game. Okay? In Saints Row 1, there are 3 gangs, each control different parts of the city and each have their own story. In Saints Row 2, there are 3 gangs / organizations, each control different parts of the city and each have their own story missions. In Saints Row 3, there are 3 gangs, each control different parts of the city and each have their own story missions. You guys see a pattern here? At some point you need to change something up. That's just being lazy, because you thought you couldn't be bothered to make it just a smidge more interesting for your own fucking player. Throughout the series, Johnny Gat has been the most likable character, for me at least. Then they decide to kill him off. Obviously this is to give the story more emotional depth, but then all that comes crashing down when you decide to bring him back. Let's take Carlos from Saints Row 2 for example. To this day, his death is still one of the most saddest deaths in any game series. During the completion of the Brotherhood story missions, Carlos gets kidnapped. You know what? I'm going to show you guys the scene where Carlos dies. So enjoy. Saints Row 2. I will always have a love for this game because it brought me a lot of joy in my early gaming years. The second and also my favorite installment in the series. Saints Row knew where it stood and it was perfectly balanced, although it was an open world shooter like the GTA franchise. It set itself apart in many ways. They weren't trying to copy or even compete with the GTA. Like I mentioned before, customization in the Saints Row franchise is leagues better than any GTA game. I say that with a grain of salt, but there are also some bad things to be said about Saints Row. In Saints Row 1, Stillwater felt very empty. It didn't really feel like a city, but Saints Row 2 improved on that significantly. The story was better, and also new characters like Pierce and Shundi gave the game more flavor as they were fresh to the series. Just like the last game, they still had the gang system. Certain gangs owned certain parts of Stillwater, and in order to take back those parts, you had to trigger a stronghold, and in order to do a stronghold, you had to do activities to earn respect, which was a good system. If it's not broken, don't fix it. I love the story. It was like Saints Row 1, 3 different gangs and their own story missions, and then with the addition of Ultor, which was an interesting add-on to say the least. Now, I love Saints Row 3. This game is fun. I'd say it's 10 times more fun than the last two games. But in a game like Saints Row, it got to a point where everything was just a joke. Not much taken too seriously, and yes, in the past Saints Row had jokes in their games, but they didn't overdo it. You gotta know your capacity when it comes to stuff like that. Saints Row 3 was a game where they finally realized it. They had come to terms that the games were not supposed to be serious, it was just a fun gangster game with a bit of story to it. At least that's what it feels like to me. But it had a lot more downsides compared to their previous games in the series. It had become a joke, but it was a bearable joke. Then the next thing you know, a guy that was the leader of a gang, mind you, a gang that kills people, becomes the president. Come on, man, like what the fuck? Like what the fuck is that? Then we play as Johnny Gat in hell. Like, let me remind you, like, this is in the universe of gangsters, like not even sci-fi, like gangsters. Like, what the fuck? Saints Row 2. Then he comes back to life, and yes, these don't take place in Saints Row 3, but come on. And then they fight aliens? So yeah, they pretty much dug their own grave. At a certain point, it just became laughable. I would love to see the Saints Row series bounce back, maybe reboot the series, because I know firsthand that the Saints Row series had some amazing moments and a lot of potential. It's just sad to see they didn't capitalize on all the potential they had. That is why, folks, Saints Row failed. It failed miserably. It failed to satisfy the fans. It failed to make money. It failed to do everything, man. Come on. Like I said, I would love to see this series come back. I'd be happy if they reboot the whole fucking thing, because that's what they need. Don't make any more shit games. Don't make any more laughable games. Just reboot the fucking series and let's get cracking, motherfucker. The Watcher out, bitch.